I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm gonna set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having. I had to start with somebody that is doing a lot for, I know that they probably know you from health and fitness, but I love the aspect of your background in martial arts and rolling, and it's what I grew up with, and that's the root of who I am, and I see that in you. And I'm old school, so I like the little things like the respect in martial arts, where you walk behind the individual, not in front of it. You give the person space. You appreciate and thank the person for the battle you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did this come for you?
This well, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate being on the platform. That's one thing is used for me is gratitude, and that's a lot is that I was raised on. And then to be in a position to have myself and my purpose and my brand broadcasted on a good, respectable platform is just for I greatly appreciate that. Personally. Now, for the martial arts thing, man, you grew up, you know, when I grew up, man, it was buff guys in martial arts. You know what I'm saying? And I got a funny story, and this is exclusive. It's the first time somebody gonna hear this.
Let's go.
First time somebody gonna hear this. Because I almost forgot, but my uncle reminded me of it. So my uncle was a black belt in probably 3 different martial arts. I'm not sure, I can't remember what they were. More of the, and no disrespect, but I'm 43, so I grew up in the real martial arts as far as the karate goes. And now a lot of things is more money driven, but my uncle and the old school pitchers kicking over the trophies, all of those things, going to tournaments with 300 people there, and they get actually broken noses.
Yeah.
So I remember I said I wanted to try. I was 8 years old, and I went to the school and I cried. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was intimidated by it, and to be today, this is my 19th year training Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. Got my black belt going on 6 years ago now. And also compete in judo state champion as well. For me, what it was being a good athlete. You know what happens is your athleticism takes over. So a lot of things you do, you can get over athletically on these guys, right? Or whatever. Neighborhood, you rest around, the more athletic kid is always gonna get over. And when I realized, been coming from a wrestling background and boxing, when I went to a jiu-jitsu and was introduced to it, a guy by the name of Brian Soundry was 170 pounds, and I was 220. And when I tell you I have never been so humble physically, I couldn't do nothing with him. And it felt like a 400-pound man was holding me down. And he literally was, and let me just say this, Brian is a butthole, because he was a small dude, and he wanted to let you know there's nothing you can do. So he was the first one to introduce me to be a waterbed, not a box spring. Yeah. So he would float on me, and I couldn't get to do that. And I said, you know what? A lot of bigger dudes, you know what happened with those? Let me get the guy, they get intimidated, they don't come back. Right. I never left, and I got so addicted to it that it got to the point to where we would be at his house watching UFC fights, and it would turn into a jiu-jitsu match. But it was the thinking. I wanted to be more technical, and I didn't want to use so much strength. I say that for the weight room. And it was always good for guys to think, oh, he's just a big, strong guy. And then the technique that I would bring would be different. And I started that as like a blue belt. Second, you know, for those who don't know, jiu-jitsu goes white, blue, purple, brown, and black. And when I became a blue belt is when I realized that I want to be more technical. I want to be more fluent. And one of the biggest compliments I got from a respectable black belt was, it's amazing how your body moves and how I can't feel you because of the technique. So that was one of my major things. That brought the discipline too. You know, that brought the discipline too, because you got to catch yourself. Because, you know, I can bench this, but I know what happened to me when I started. 170-pound dude, I couldn't get him off. And carrying this much muscle, your cardio kind of gets. Right. That was huge for me.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show.
I love that aspect. And again, we have an acquaintance that you've been friends with since you're youngster,
19,
right? Big Scotty?
Yeah.
So Big Scotty, for you guys at home, is a buddy of mine that we trained together to get the reboot. This is the second time I've come back for Gladiators. And they said, we want to give you the show. And I go, no, I'll try out like everybody else. Right? Don't hand me nothing. And so me and Scotty trained together for the Gladiators. And so big shout out to old school, but it's cool that that's somebody that you're still friends with, that it's we've met through somebody. I guess that's 7 degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon or whatever it is. Yeah.
He's the size of 2 people.
But we're all athletes. Baseball, everything over here again, and we're getting. You're 43. You're absolutely phenomenal when it comes to working out and strength, and then you got this incredible peaceful warrior attitude. Is what's the next step at this age? Because I was hearing a little bit you talking about weight.
Can I ask him a question before? I think there's more of a foundational element based upon the conversation you and I had offline.
Oh, yeah.
So I had ran into Brandon at the Fit Expo. I didn't run, I saw him and I thought, oh man, look at this giant human.
Right.
And I didn't want to go up to him because I didn't know, right? I didn't know what kind of reaction I would get. Then we connected on a direct message online and he said, no. You misunderstood who I am as a human. I love people. Yeah. And I can see that clearly now. But there was a backstory that you shared with me, and I think that's important to bring out right now.
Yeah. So you know, I grew up in the 80s, 90s. You know, it's people think that everybody from the hood has such a horrible family structure. I did grandmother's uncle's mother. You know, my father wasn't in my life. Me and my father are super close now. But you know, we was just, that was our environment. Very violent. And I grew up seeing abuse from my dad from the short time that he was around, and that set off a trigger. So I was very violent, very nasty guy, right? And it wasn't that I would want to start it, but I couldn't let it go. And to be the guy who ran around, and everybody would expect drama when I came, and then people kind of look at you like, he's here, so you know it. And the same personality, me laughing and joking was it, but that trigger, right? And it was a time where I realized, like, man, you're not a very comfortable person to be around. I was stabbed 9 times in 2004, and going through that process, we all got purpose, right? Everything happened for a reason. I never blacked out. I was awake the whole time. They started the emergency tubal with me awake up until they put me to sleep. So I literally had to experience that whole process of almost being murdered. And didn't go in the shop, nothing. The year before that, a buddy of mine, Scott Marshall, died in my arms. He was stabbed 4 times. So I knew to keep calm, to not have my, you know, adrenaline. And
did your training help you with that mindset?
No, see, I started training literally after I got the last staple out. I lied to the doctor, and that's when I went and started looking for something to do. And jiu-jitsu, unfortunately, hurt a long time before because I could have got a hernia. Yeah. You know, I had, you know, a bunch of damage there. Yeah. But so that was when I had realized that you have to, this is not good. And then it wasn't like I was stabbed because, you know, certain issues, but your energy, bring it. If you got good energy, you're going to attract it. I firmly believe in that. I'm sure we all do. You got good energy, you attract it. And I wasn't having good energy then. And I was a bouncer, and that took place. And then from my mother, the things that she said, that she was coming to the hospital to identify the body of her oldest son. that right there was like, wow. So you put your mom and your family and friends through that process, right? So this is what your energy brought. So your mother got to deal with this. If you go, you don't have no, you're a kid. You don't have anything. Somebody got to help you. Somebody got to pay for that. Right. And after that, man, my oldest daughter, her mother dropped her off, and she didn't come back. So now I'm going through this process, and now it's this. So now I got to be a dad on top of that, and I wasn't ready to be a dad because I was already childish. So a lot of things had to turn, and then I started really thinking about who my grandfather was. And my grandfather, every gangster, whoever it was, they would break their neck to speak to him. He was a very religious man. He used to have 10, 20 of us walking to vocational Bible school growing up. Everybody loved him. And I always wanted to mimic who he was because he was one of the most respectful human beings that I've ever seen. So when people see him, he would always say, terrific, terrific, right? They'd say, hey, Mr. Bobby, how you doing? Terrific, terrific. Everybody loved him. It didn't matter what age, color, whatever. They loved him. He loved everybody else. So as I started to grow, when he passed away, it really hit me. That's what I want to make. That's a lot of reasons why I'm clean shaved. My grandfather's all clean shaved. He's the oldest Vietnam vet. That's why I'm clean shaved. I just wanted to mimic that. One of the greatest human beings I know. So that's where that came from. And when he said that to me, I was like, man, if I'm like this, that's because I can't see. Because I'm mad. This is my vision. I really just can't see. And when he said it, I'm like, man, that's the last thing I want to be. Man, please talk to me. I don't care what I got to do. Please, because it's good to be viewed in that light. Versus, hey, man, if I let you in the bar tonight, you know what I'm saying? You don't want me that. So, when he told me that, I was like, oh, no, please. Anytime, anywhere. And my kids love it. My kids are like, oh, that's my daddy on, the internet. You know what I'm saying? My kids love that. So I love it too. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with talking to anybody. I don't care what they're talking about, whenever.
It's that time again to get my blood work done to see where my numbers are. Again, the one big thing for me is I'm keeping track of it. It's so precise. I competed in bodybuilding and powerlifting and martial arts, but that was all over decades ago. And so how can I continue to keep this physique and be this strong at this stage? And so that is by optimizing my health with Titan Medical. It all stems from one thing: your blood work, what's going on inside of you. And that's the main thing that I'm focused about, is see how I can continue to not just be in the game. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a weekend warrior. I don't want to say you got a dad bod. I want to be the pinnacle of the health and fitness industry decades after I competed. And I've always said this too. You got so many of these guys that were with me in the 80s and 90s, and they keep putting the pictures up from the 80s and 90s. I don't want to be that guy. I like the fact that I can still put up pictures of me today, even though I won the universe back in the 90s. That's the goal for me. I don't know what your goal is, but I can tell you this. I know you want to live, and I know you want to live your best life. And that starts with blood work. Over at Titan Medical, start today.
What triggered the Fit Expo? You saw him.
I saw him, and he caught my attention. He was with a bunch of people. Okay. And I was going to go interrupt and just...
They're both Ohio boys. Were you born and raised?
Yeah. I'm from Canton. Yeah. 2 hours away.
All right. Sorry about that.
Go on. I just didn't want to interrupt him. I didn't know if...
He's loyal. You know he's one of the loyal people. We Browns fans. One of the most loyal humans on earth. Yeah.
But you just saw him. You didn't do it.
I didn't go up because I didn't know. I didn't want to interrupt him with his fans. He had a bunch of people around him and stuff. But I wanted to go acknowledge what I had seen. Like this.
You felt something.
I felt something. I really did. But for whatever reason, I just continued to go on. I thought to myself, I'll catch him when I circle back if there's nobody with him. And then maybe you message me or I message.
I jumped on your live video.
Okay, that's right. And he's on my live every single time. I appreciate you for that, brother.
Every time we come on, it's always in the time that I'm sitting down getting ready to edit something, and I pop him right on, put him up next to the so I catch him every time. It's literally every time I catch him. So yeah.
It's definitely an inspirational story, man.
Yeah.
And being able to adapt and change like that, recognize, man, some people never do that. Just continue on with the path on, and not have any excuses about where you came from or anything like that.
You got to recognize, I always use the closet.
Yeah.
The closet theory. My grandmother used to have a scary room in the house. We used to be scared. And we saw I tricked my younger cousins. And I dare you run down the hallway. I dare you go knock on that door. And it wasn't nothing in the door. But all I say, man, you gotta, they'll say skeletons in the closet, you gotta open the door. And that's what I've been doing, you know, the last probably about 15 years of my life, understanding where the trauma come from, which is how, you know, now we got this nonprofit, Sons of the Beast, CP Stretch and Julius Maddox, my partner Don Singleton and TD Smash, and it's geared towards men's mental health. 43,000. Men commit suicide like 3 out of 5. And man, when I probably had
kids. Suicide rate has went up through the roof.
All of these things we're doing, scary, and especially after COVID. So, and it was during COVID and after COVID, and a guy that really helped me a lot in such a short time was Eric the Trainer. And he came up to me at the Arnold's 2 years ago, and I was eating, man, and I was eating over barbershop. And he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "Hey, man, what are you looking to do? So I need you to come to my gym." And I'm like, man, he was familiar, but I've seen him before. I just didn't realize he was that big. So I said, okay. And he said, "Hey, I'm gonna hit you on this one." But I was, you know, new Chef Rush, and then I would go back home, and then I see Chef Rush, him in the picture. Me and Chef Rush tag picture, Eric coming. So I hit Eric up. I said, "Man, I'm sorry I was eating." He said, "Oh, no problem." He invited me to the Museum of Martial Arts in Burbank, and I went there for their anniversary, and we was every day, man. He was such a good dude. He would hit me up. I'm like, "You how are you?" And he's like, "Hey, why you sound like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, man. You know, I'm all right." He's like, "All right, I'm gonna hang up." And he hung up. I'm like, "Okay." And then he video call. Why is he video call? So I answered. You know, I just want to make sure I see you, like you inside me. And that's the kind of dude he was, man. So that was really one of those things.